Today, we're going to be looking at the brand new Olight Javelot Pro 2. Now, the Javelot Pro 2 is Olight's latest thrower, meaning light that is designed to shine long distances and illuminate objects that are far away. Now, this would also be a good time to compare this light with one of their older throwers, the Warrior X Turbo. Now, first off, as you can see, this isn't ordinary packaging. This is something special that Olight does for their flagship products. So what they do is they'll package it inside this plastic wrap, but inside the plastic wrap, it's a hard plastic case that comes with the light. So open up that now and show it to you. So this is what the Javelot Pro 2 comes in. So this is how you know that it's one of their flagship lights. It's a pretty good sturdy case. It looks like it'll last. It's got good snaps here. Okay, so when I open this up, we can see we got the light itself, we got the holster, we got the manual, and I think inside the holster is going to be the charging cable. So if you're familiar with the Warrior X Turbo, this is basically just an oversized holster from the Warrior X Turbo. Standard charging cable. This is the MCC3. So this has multiple outputs. It can do 1 amp, 1.5 amps, and 2 amps. And here's the light itself. Comes in this nice foam packaging, which is really nice. Now this, of course, is the limited edition desert camo finish, so it's not your standard black. Now I gotta tell you, when I first heard about this Javelot Pro 2, I kind of wondered where they were going with it, as in it doesn't reach as far as the Javelot Turbo, which reaches out to 1,300 meters, whereas this one only reaches 1,050 meters. And when you're comparing it to the Warrior X Turbo, which is a smaller thrower that they have, that one goes out to 1,000 yards, but it's like half the size of this. Plastic film on the lens here. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and remove the film that protects the battery from being discharged while shipping. Okay. Okay, so let's take a look at this battery. So this battery has 10,000 milliamps. So it's essentially two 21700s put together inside this tube. Now you can't remove the individual batteries, but I believe you can buy separate battery sticks. So in case you want to charge one while you're using the other, you can do so. The way this interface works is it has a tail switch and it also has a side switch. Now, one thing to know about the side switch is that it's actually opposite from what many Olights tend to be. So normally when you have a light that has a side switch, you'd tap it to turn it on and off, and then you'd hold the side switch to cycle the modes, but this is actually the opposite way. So simply tapping it is just going to display the power level indicator. So to turn it on, I would have to actually hold down the button, and then you can see now it's on. To turn it off, I'd have to hold down the button again. So it's a little different. I'm not really sure why they changed it. I wish they would have kept it, the same, because I mean, it's going to take a little while to get used to. It's probably not a big problem, but it is something that you'd have to get used to if you're used to using other Olights. Now, just to run through the modes real quick. Hold it down to turn it on. It'll come on. First level we have is low. This is 15 lumens. At this rate, it'll last for 12 days, and it'll throw the light 85 meters. Bumping it up one level. This is going to be medium. This is 150 lumens. At this rate, it'll last for 32.5 hours, and the beam distance is 255 meters. Bumping it up one level. This is high, which is going to be 600 lumens. At this rate, it'll last for 420 minutes before it steps down, and it'll throw the light out to 510 meters. Press the button one more time, you'll get to turbo, which is your full 2500 lumen output and 1050 meter beam distance. Now in turbo, it'll last for 5 minutes at turbo before it has to step down. Now this light also does have a tail switch that, much like their other lights, allows you to activate the light into two settings. There's the low setting and then there's the turbo setting. Now in the low mode, when you half press it, it does only come on to its lowest setting, which is 15 lumens. Now when you compare that to like the M2R Pro Warrior or the Warrior Mini 2, their half press comes on at medium. I would rather this light come on at medium rather than the super low. This light is actually compatible with their newer tape switch, which that actually locks on to the light. Now this is an optional accessory, but if you wanted to mount this thing on to a rifle to go like hunting with, because it is a pretty long range, you could do that. And they do make a mount that can attach this light to the side rail of a rifle. And then from there you just take this tape switch and it clicks on magnetically. And since it does have the upgraded tail cap, you can lock it on by pressing forward, just like that. And then from here, this new pressure switch has both the high and the low. So I can access the low, which is the 15 lumens, or I can access the turbo, which is the full 2500 lumens. Now, when comparing this thing to the Warrior X Turbo, one thing to know is that the Javelot Pro 2 has double the battery capacity, because essentially it has two 21700s, whereas this one only has one. And another major difference between the Javelot Pro 2 and the Warrior X Turbo is the fact that the Javelot Pro 2 has over twice the power output. So instead of having 1100 lumens, you have the full 2500 lumens, which means that although the throw distance is relatively similar, you're going to have a lot more light coming out, which means that if you have the Javelot Pro 2, you're going to be able to light up a much bigger area than the Warrior X Turbo. You'll see when we go outside. So just to give you an idea of the size of this, this is the Javelot Pro 2, and then this here is the Warrior X Turbo. Now both of these are in camo, desert camo, so these are both limited editions, but you can just tell the size difference. So this one obviously does have double the capacity. There's there's what is equivalent to two 21700s inside this battery stick, whereas this one only has one. Now, they both have a comparable head size. If you can see, the Javelot Pro 2 is just a tad bigger than the Warrior X Pro, or I'm sorry, the Warrior X Turbo. but the length of the head is much bigger, so you can have a deeper reflector with this one, which is probably where the extra 50 meters comes in. Let's go outside and I'll show you what these both can do. Alright guys, I'm out here with the Warrior X Turbo as well as the Javelot Pro 2. Now to give you some context, this tree right here is about 20 yards out. This top tree right here, this center tree toward the top is going to be about 50 yards out, and the tree back there in the center is going to be about 130 yards out. So I'm going to start this Warrior X Turbo first. So this is starting out, this is going to be 150 lumens. So as you can see, no problem at 20 yards. Lights up 50 yards very well. And even at 130 yards, you can actually see it quite well. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and crank this thing up to its turbo mode, which is 1100 lumens. This is 1100 lumens, it's turbo mode. It's turbo mode. As you can see, it washes out the 20-yard tree. 50 yards, not a problem at all. In fact, it kind of washes it out as well. And of course, the 130 yards, it'll make it out just fine. But take a look at the hotspot. So you can see the hotspot is actually kind of small. Now, when compared to the Javelot Pro 2, that you're going to see that hotspot to be much bigger at the same distance, if not a little further. Alright guys, so now I have the Javelot Pro 2. I'm going to go ahead and turn this thing on to low. So you can see the battery indicator is full, and the level indicator is indicating the low mode. So this is going to be 15 lumens. At 15 lumens, I can see the 20-yard tree just fine. I can actually see the 50-yard one as well. I'm not sure how well it'll come out on camera, but I can see it with my naked eye. I can't really see the 130-yard tree though. I'm going to go ahead and bump this thing up one more level. As you can see, the two dots indicating medium. This is 150 lumens. So at 150 lumens, this thing will last for 32 hours. So it lights up the 50-yard tree very nicely. 20 yards, of course, no problem. And the 130-yard tree it does light it up as well. Now I'm going to go ahead and bump this thing up to high. So this is on high now. So this is going to be 600 lumens. So the 50-yard tree, very nicely lit up. 130 yards, lit up nicely as well. And as you can see, the hot spot on this one is much bigger than the Warrior X Turbo, because it's putting out more light. And especially when I bump it up to turbo here, now it's on turbo mode, you can really see it at 50 yards, 130 yards, 20 yards. It's just putting out much more light than the Warrior X Turbo. So yeah, you can definitely see the difference. Alright guys, so just one more time for comparison. This is the Warrior X Turbo on 1100 lumens. Just take note of that hot spot. And this is going to be the Javelot Pro 2 with 2500 lumens. So as you can see, a much brighter hotspot. Alright, well, this was a look at the Javelot Pro 2 as well as the Warrior X Turbo. If you like this kind of content, give me a like, give me a follow, subscribe, all that good stuff. Thank you very much, I appreciate it.